Like and subscribe right now or this spider will crawl on your face when you are sleeping. On the TLC show My 600 Pound Life, viewers have been watching morbidly obese men and women since 2012. All of those people appeared in order to seek Dr. No's help so they could transform themselves completely by changing their lifestyle. Each 2-hour episode of the TLC show introduces a different individual seeking guidance from Dr. No to live a healthier lifestyle, especially after getting help from bariatric surgery. Background of Michael's story.
And I still don't want to stop because how food makes me feel.
Viewers were first introduced to 43-year-old Michael in this episode of the My 600 Pound Life, which premiered on February 24, 2021. He lives with his wife Kimberly and 2 children.
Liam!
Yeah?
Wanna play some video games?
Sure.
Okay.
12-year-old Liam and 17-year-old Xander. When he was featured on the show, his weight was almost 610 pounds, and because of his overweight, his daily life had started to affect badly. Even though despite all that, he was still able to get up and move around, but he couldn't do much else, as he could only just get out of bed and make it across the hall so he could get to the couch or to get to the bathroom to wash up and sit down. He sits on the toilet seat, and the hot tub washes, and then his wife Kimberly needs to powder him up so he doesn't get rashes. In fact, he also shared on this episode that he attributed his weight to childhood trauma, which had been a huge factor in his disordered eating. While he was sharing about his trauma with the viewers, he said that, "When I was just a few years old, my dad left my mom and I, so we had to move in with my grandparents, and my grandma was trying to keep me fed constantly. By the time I was 7, I was probably close to 100 to 110 pounds, and it made a perpetual cycle where I could get bigger. I would feel bad about getting bigger, I would eat more, and I kept getting bigger and bigger. Not just that, because when he was 11 years old, so many things in his life got even worse for him. He was molested by the pack leader of the trip with whom he went on an overnight camping trip with a kids' wilderness club thing. Since then, binge eating food became the coping mechanism for dealing with his trauma, and therefore that incident marked a huge impact on his mind that caused him to become overweight as the number on the scale started rising even more rapidly. Michael has tried to recover from his trauma before. However, he has been thrown many curveballs, especially when with his mother, he had to move in his grandparents' house. So by then, his grandparents always kept him fed, and by the time he was just 7. But because of that, he eventually started putting on a lot of weight, and he was already nearly 100 pounds, which led to bullying. The sexual abuse he went through in his life led young Michael to believe that if he was bigger, no one would want to hurt him. Therefore, he kept on eating until he found a hobby and a job that he loved. So when he made up his mind to lose the weight, he and his wife were both scheduled for a gastric bypass, but unfortunately, he got into a car accident. That accident has caused him bad scar tissue all over his abdomen. That's why his surgery got delayed, as no one would perform the gastric bypass on him in that condition of his body. So, after years of trying, Michael has come to Dr. No, and in today's video, let's find out the 3 craziest and most intense moments of Michael's story. Number 3. Michael hates society and hates people.
And you're here to lose weight, right?
Yes, sir.
During Michael's first interaction with Dr. No, his weight was 609.5 pounds. Dr. No started the conversation by asking his weight and eating habits.
It's like I can't just have one chicken breast.
While talking about his miseries with Dr. No, we can see the hostility and defensiveness towards society. As we can see that he does not scream and shout and argue, so it is clear in his voice that he has a defensive streak, or maybe you can call him a type of person who usually makes excuses to save himself. Michael shares with Dr. No that it takes a lot of food to satisfy his hunger. In his reply, Dr. No asks him why he can't stop eating. While at that time, Michael seems puzzled for a moment, just before admitting honestly that he eats that much as a defense mechanism because as a child, he was so abused, so to overcome all that he gets a bit agitated. He also states how he hates society and how he hates people, therefore he doesn't go outside much.
I was so abused and tortured as a child, just in society.
In his response, Dr. No asks him when he developed this view. He replied that when he was around 8 or 9 years of age.
I realized I didn't like people when I was about 8 or 9. Once I realized that.
Since Dr. No has been dealing with such cases for years, he asks Michael if he thinks that his weight affects because of all of that. If he keeps making him prone to make excuses, then maybe it is nothing but his perspective of his weight that has always held him back.
So, do you think you can make some changes in your eating habit? Are you motivated to do that?
After that conversation, Dr. No schedules him to see a therapist to work on his negative outlook towards life. A first big step for Michael to tackle his traumatic issues.
Okay, what effect do you think that had on you, going through that?
Dr. No also schedules him for an endoscopy, a surgery for scar tissue, and what that might mean. Number 2. Michael set a bonfire. When Michael's appointment with Dr. No ended, he then went to see a therapist, Dr. Paradise. He, the therapist, talks with Michael about being caged and to let go of the things that are stopping him from making a change in his life. After that motivational meetup with Dr. Paradise, it literally affects Michael, and after some time, it results in him feeling ready to let things go.
Great to meet you guys. Thanks for coming in.
Yes, thank you.
Have a safe drive back up to.
In fact, to show that he's really motivated to create a change in his life, he and his family set up the fire in their backyard. And into that fire, they then throw all the unhealthy foods, junk foods, and comfort foods. Michael names it as a purge, and if you ask me, then it must be a hard thing for him to do. As he even visibly struggles, however, he knows that this act is going to compel him to find other and better outlets for his feelings. By the way, as a viewer, I would love to give my feedback about that purge kind of thing, that it was maybe the most unique and dedicated act we have all ever seen on the show done by anyone, because we know that no one has ever gone this far. I mean, to purge the stash of junk food in their backyard bonfire, maybe it might seem crazy and ridiculous to you, and it certainly is, because no one ever tried this way to fight their temptation for junk food.
Right here, right now, is my last and only chance of having a life.
Although, let me add that the purge thing seriously worked in Michael's case, as he definitely got rid of his temptations.
But in your case, we're going to do it now to see how the things are.
Okay.
Number 1. Michael confronts his childhood abuser.
Dear you know who you are.
Well, after all that bit of a roller coaster ride, Michael finally decides to confront his childhood abuser, first by writing a letter to him. While he was writing that letter and going through all those traumatic recalls again, his wife Kimberly stays with him, even especially when he reads the letter aloud outside their house and then sets fire to it.
You found pleasure in the bodies of young boys.
So he could banish his abuser to the flames and could easily let go of some of the pain his abuser caused him.
Now, you are banished to the flames.
After doing that bold step, he makes up his mind to go to his next checkup.
But not 100 pounds of progress. I know it's not from lack of effort, because I'm really trying.
But during that meetup with Dr. No, his wife cannot come with him, and as a man who has agoraphobia, this must be a huge step to take, and it shows how determined he is to lose his weight, and he now knows that he must finally face his fears, and it seems that he does. During his appointment, it revealed that he has lost 61 pounds, and now he weighs 548 pounds in total. Well, to be approved by Dr. No for gastric bypass surgery, it isn't enough, but it is certainly a progress, and from here, he continues to work to achieve his goal of life for himself and for his supportive family. Michael might not get qualified for surgery, but for me, it is totally inspiring and amazing that in just a couple of moments on the show, he manages to face some of his biggest fears with full confidence and courage by confronting his past pains that have been traumatizing him since his childhood, and for the first time in years, he becomes able to go out on his own.
So you're making some good changes, but you need to do more to cut back on your portions.
I literally want to congratulate him for this milestone, as this is what we call a crazy willpower. Keep going, Michael. You can do much more.
Now I know it's here. When you get in a better shape, we can come and walk.
Well, that's all, guys, for today with the 3 crazy moments of Michael's story. Thank you for watching the video. And if you guys found it interesting, I would much appreciate it if you'd let us know by commenting down below which part of the video you found the most interesting and crazy. And do leave the thumbs up. Last but not least, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for getting updates related to our latest videos.